السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today, Saturday, the 28th of Dhul Hijjah, 1439, matching the 8th of September 2018. And we are back to our normal program with Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim and his book الداء والدواء, the disease and the cure. Last session we were with Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim and he spoke about 4 types of love. And all of these discussions for the past few weeks after Ramadan and on, we're still in the topic of love. So last time he mentioned that there are 4 types of love. The first one, loving Allah Azza wa Jal, mahabbatullah. He said this love is not enough for salvation. Is not enough for salvation, because there are many disbelievers who love Allah. The next type of love is loving what Allah loves. And this is what makes a person a Muslim. This is what makes a person saved. That's what will save. The next one is loving for Allah and for the sake of Allah, in Allah, right? And next one is love with Allah, to love something with Allah, and that is the love of the mushrikeen. They love Allah and they love their idols too, right? And this is the love of the mushrikeen, love with Allah. There is a 5th type of love, he said, that has nothing to do with our topic. He said that is the natural love, the natural love that comes with you in your fitra, in your natural creation, the innate nature Allah created you upon, to, for instance, love your father or love your mother or love your children, to love food, to love to sleep, right? Those things, they come with you, within your nature. But this has nothing to do with the topic that he is discussing. Then he spoke about al-Khulla. We mentioned before that, he mentioned that at-ta'abbud, worship, right, is the highest level of love. That is at-ta'abbud, worship, which is love that is mixed with humility, love mixed with submission. So you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you submit to Him. This is what is called worship, ibadah. There is, however, he says, even higher than that, and that is the level of al-Khulla, right? Al-Khulla is only specific and special to 2 individuals only in the universe, right? And that is Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, right? So Ibrahim is Khalil Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is Khalilullah. And Khulla is the love that has overtaken your heart in a way that there is no place for anyone else, right? Khalil, right? This is why the word Khalil. And we mentioned where the root comes from. The root, the origin of the word Khalil, right? And we said that generally it means when love seeps through your heart, because that's where the original meaning comes from, to seep through, to go through something, right? And love seeping through your heart in a way that it will take over the whole heart, right? And we said that the 2 Khalils are Ibrahim and Muhammad alayhima as-salatu was-salam. And he mentioned that there are people who think that Ibrahim is Khalilullah and Muhammad is Habibullah alayhima as-salatu was-salam, thinking that Habib is higher than Khalil. And he said that is a mistake, and this is by someone who doesn't understand, because Khalil is a higher level of love than just Habib. That's where we stopped, right? Now, he goes on further to say, قد تقدم أن العبد لا يترك ما يحبه ويهواه إلا لما يحبه ويهواه. It has preceded before, he mentioned this point, that the person, he does not leave what he loves and what he is attached to. He does not leave it except for something that he loves more, something that he desires even more, right? He said, ولكن يترك أضعافهما محبة لأقواهما محبة. But what would he do? He would leave the weaker in terms of love to the higher. So he loves two things, one strongly and another one weaker, right? And what does he do? He chooses the thing that he loves more. This is naturally, this is what you will do. كما أنه يفعل ما يكرهه لحصول ما محبته أقوى عنده من كراهة ما يفعله. He says, exactly like he does things that he dislikes. You do something that you don't like to achieve that which the love of it is stronger for him than the hate or the dislike of what he is doing. Right? So, you do something that you don't like to do in order to achieve something that you love much more. Right? So you hate what you are doing maybe 50%, but you love the goal you want to achieve 90%. So it's okay, you go through the 50% of dislike in order to get the 90% or the 99%. Right? You go through some pain. You have to go through surgery. You don't like to go to the hospital and, surgery and all of that. But then you love to be healthy later on. So you accept this thing that you hate and dislike in order to achieve what you love more. Right? He said, أو لخلاصه من مكروه كراهته عنده أقوى من كراهة ما يفعله. Right? He would do something that he dislikes, right? Because he wants to be rid of something that he dislikes, and the dislike of that thing is far much intense than hating what he does. There is a very good example for that, and I'm sure all of you feel that. Even businessmen, feel the same way, right? Going to work. Anybody interested in going to work? Huh? Especially Mondays, Muhammad. I hate Mondays, right? I don't like Mondays. They said it long time ago, right? Because after you are resting, you go back to work on Monday. And schooling for the kids just started school. I feel sorry for them, I feel sorry for them that they're going back to school, right? But this is the case. All of us have gone through that. So you go through something that you dislike because you want to run away from something that you dislike even more, right? So you hate to go to work. But when the end of the month comes and you have to pay for rent, and you have to pay for the other bills, and you get stuck because you don't have money, right? Then now, better go back to work. You hate work, but you hate this state of being unable to pay all of the bills. You hate that far much more, right? So, he said, وَتَقَدَّمَ. Also it has preceded. This point has preceded before, that أَنَّ خَاصِّيَّةَ الْعَقْلِ إيثار أعلى المحبوبين على أدناهما. That the special characteristic of intellect, of the mind, of the brain, right? This thing that Allah gave you for comprehension, the special, distinct quality of the mind is إيثار أعلى المحبوبين على أدناهما. To give preference to the higher of the two loved things over the lower. So if you are faced with two things, you love this one more than the other, well, and you have to do one of them, then you choose the higher one. That's normal, right? وأيسر المكروهين على أقواهما. Also, you will prefer the lesser, the easier of matter of dislike. You choose that over the one that's more hateful. As we said, about you going to work and you not being able to pay your bills, right? Not paying the bills, you hate it more. So you choose the easier, the easier thing, and you just go to work like everybody else, right? He said, وَتَقَدَّمَ أَنَّ هَذَا مِنْ كَمَالِ قُوَّةِ الْحُبِّ وَالْبُغْضِ. It has also preceded that this is from the perfection of the strong love and hate. Right? If you have love, you have hate. If your love and hate is perfect, right? It's sound and right, then this is what you will do. You will choose the higher of the two loved things. You will choose the easier of the two things of dislike. Right? If you have, the right mind and the right components of love and hate. Because sometimes you are swayed, you are deviated by your desires, right? You know this thing is better, but because of desires, you don't follow what is right. He says, how do you achieve this? How do you achieve this sound thinking, sound comprehension? You use your brain and your intellect and your mind in the right way. How would you achieve that? He says, وَلَا يَتِمُّ لَهُ هَذَا إِلَّا بِأَمْرَيْنِ قُوَّةُ الْإِدْرَاكِ وَشَجَاعَةِ الْقَلْبِ. This cannot be established for the person except with two matters. Having strong ability to comprehend, strong comprehension, and courageous heart, bravery in the heart. فإن التخلف عن ذلك والعمل بخلافه يكون إما لضعف الإدراك. For you staying behind from this, not choosing what you're supposed to choose, right? The higher of the two good options, the lower of the two bad options, right? He says, if you don't do that, it's either because you have weak comprehension بحيث إنه لم يدرك مراتب المحبوب والمكروه على ما هي عليه. In a way that he does not comprehend the different levels and degrees of what is to be loved and what is to be hated according to how they should be, right? This, you should love it more. Then you think your comprehension is weak, you say I should love it less. And the opposite, right? So you have your ability to comprehend is low. That's one reason why you don't choose the right choice. You don't make the right choice. The other reason is وَإِمَّا لِضَعْفٍ فِي النَّفْسِ وَعَجْزٍ فِي الْقَلْبِ. Or either because there is weakness in the soul or inability of the heart بحيث لا يطاوعه على إيثار الأصلح لرفع علمه بأنه الأصلح. He said, in a way that your heart, your soul, does not obey you, does not listen to you, right? To choose what is best because you have no knowledge that it is the best, right? فإذا صح إدراكه وقويت نفسه وتشجع قلبه, right? He says, if his comprehension now is sound and his soul is strong and his heart became courageous على إيثار المحبوب الأعلى والمكروه الأدنى, to give preference to the higher option, the better option, and to leave the lower disliked option, right? فقد وفق لأسباب السعادة. Then he is facilitated to the causes leading to happiness, causes leading to happiness. He says, فَمِنَ النَّاسِ amongst the people are those مَنْ يَكُونُ سُلْطَانُ شَهْوَتِهِ أَقْوَى مِنْ سُلْطَانِ عَقْلِهِ وَإِيمَانِهِ. The authority of his desire is stronger than the authority of his intellect and his iman, his faith. فَيَقْهَرُ الْغَالِبُ الضَّعِيفُ. So the stronger one will beat the weaker of the two. ومنهم من يكون سلطان إيمانه وعقله أقوى من سلطان شهوته. And amongst them are those whose authority of Iman, the authority of Iman that he has, is stronger than the authority of his desire. He said, وإذا كان كثير من المرضى يحميه الطبيب عما يضره فتأبى عليه نفسه وشهوته إلا تناوله ويقدم شهوته على عقله. He said, many of the sick people, the medical doctor, the tabib, he would have them go through a path of prevention. You know, prevention is better than using the cure and the medicine. You prevent yourself from things that harm you, and therefore you don't need to take pills. You don't need to take medicine. That's what the doctors will tell you. He said, some people, his soul and his desire refuses except to take those items that will harm them. And he will give precedence to his desire over his intellect. وتسميه الأطباء عديم المروءة. Those medical doctors, they will say about this person who doesn't listen like that, he has no dignity. He has no self-esteem, right? Because he cannot control himself, right? Yeah, I might have told you before about some of the, especially those who grow old and very old, right? They love sweets and they have diabetes. So they shouldn't be, but then they can't. Right? They just got so used to it that they don't stop. And even sometimes they deceive themselves. How? They say, I don't take sugar in tea. Right? No sugar. Tea without sugar. So they bring them tea without sugar. But then when they bring the sweets, the baklava and those things, they just dig deep, right? And maybe they eat half of the plate. So if you bring them a cup of tea with some sugar, they say, you put sugar in it? It's okay, bring it. What about this plate that you ate all of it on your own, you know? But then they cannot control themselves. This is how it is, right? Likewise, مرضى القلوب. Likewise, those who are sick at heart. They have sickness in their heart. أكثر مرضى القلوب يؤثرون ما يزيد مرضهم لقوة شهوتهم له. They will prefer what will increase their sickness because of the strong desire to it. Right? You're watching something and it's making you sick. Ya akhi, stop watching that. Those on the social media, right? I liked what someone sent me a statement of one of the scholars. They asked him, what was the condition, the status of our early scholars with the Quran? How was their relationship with the Quran? He said, like our relationship with the social media, you know, cell phones and, really, think of that. Think of that. How much you spend time on the internet, right? 3 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours, 10 hours, some people, right? First thing in the morning before any, let's check what's, right? If we were reciting Quran like this, definitely, in 7 days we are finished reciting the Quran. Within 7 days, every week we finish reciting the Quran, right? So this is the case. that thing makes you sick, stop it. But we don't want, because we have this sickness. We don't want to stop ourselves from the things that harm us. So he says, فَأَصْلُ الشَّرِّ, the root, the origin of evil, مِنْ ضَعْفِ الْإِدْرَاكِ وَضَعْفِ النَّفْسِ وَدَنَاءَتِهَا. It is because of the weakness, the lack of comprehension, and the lack and the weakness of the self, and the fact that the self is a low type of a self. وأصل الخير, the root of goodness, من كمال الإدراك, is due to the perfect comprehension, وقوة النفس, and the strong self, وشرفها, its nobility, and شجاعتها, its bravery and courageousness. Right? Someone, he knows, and he should work, and he knows that he has to, but then he's thinking of waking up in the morning and dealing with the people, and being responsible for things, and so let's just go on social assistance and take it easy, and even if we get less, it's all right, and life is going, we are doing the bare minimum, right? This, he understands what he should do, but he chooses the lower option, because either his lack of comprehension or his following of the desires, right? So this is the case when someone, of course, is having the ability and is all able and perfect. Allah gave him everything that he should do, and he still doesn't use that, right? He says, فَالْحُبُّ وَالْإِرَادَةُ أَصْلُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَمَبْدَأُهُ. This is a very heavy statement. He says, love and will, love and wanting something, loving and wanting something is the root, is the origin of everything, and the start, what initiates everything. Likewise, al-bughd wal-karaha, hate and animosity, hatred and dislike, is the root, aslu kulli tarkin wa mabda'uh, is the root of everything and the origin that leads you to leave something, and what initiates you abandoning and leaving something. وهاتان القوتان في القلب أصل سعادة العبد وشقاوته. These two strengths, these two powers are that are in the heart. They are the root, they are the origin leading to the happiness of the servant or his wretchedness and sadness. Right? So the root of every good is for you loving and wanting, and the root of every not every good, every doing, what initiates and starts you to do something is actually love and will, wanting. And what leads you to leave away and abandon something is you hating and disliking that. So this is the root, the force that is driving you, and this is within your heart. Love and hate, liking and disliking. This is what makes you do or makes you leave. Right? He said, وَوُجُودُ الْفِعْلِ الْاخْتِيَارِ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بِوُجُودِ سَبَبِهِ مِنَ الْحُبِّ وَالْإِرَادَةِ. For the action that you do by choice, the action that you do by your own free will, right? For that to come into existence, this action that is done by your own choice, for it to come into existence, it won't come into existence except with the cause which is basically loving and wanting, to love and to want. وَأَمَّا عَدَمُ الْفِعْلِ, as for not doing, for you to leave and abandon, right? فَتَارَةً يَكُونُ لِعَدَمِ مُقْتَضِيهِ وَسَبَبِهِ. Sometimes you leave something Because there is nothing causing you. Nothing makes it necessary for you to leave that thing. Right? وتارة يكون لوجود البغض والكراهة المانعة منه. Sometimes you don't do something because there exists hate and dislike which will prevent you from doing it. Right? He said, وَهَذَا مُتَعَلَّقُ الْأَمْرِ وَالنَّهِي. This is the matter that is linked to and that is attached to the command and the forbiddance. The command and the forbiddance. Right? Allah commanding you to do something and forbidding you from doing something is related to this issue of there is a reason that makes you hate and dislike. Right? This is what is related to command and forbiddance. He says, and وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُسَمَّى الْكَفِ, which is called when you withhold yourself from doing something. وَهَذَا مُتَعَلَّقُ الثَّوَابِ وَالْعِقَابِ. This is what is linked and is related to and is attached to reward and punishment. What is it? When you leave something because you hate and dislike it. In the first case, you leave it because there is nothing calling you. It didn't even come in your, right? طيب. The second type, which you leave because you dislike it and you hate it, right? That is what is related to the command and the forbiddance. That is what is related to reward and punishment. That is what is related to the issue of you being rewarded or you being punished. Right? Example. Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. Right? He was in the house of Al-Aziz. And then the wife of Al-Aziz, she came and she tried to lure him, tried to seduce him. And what did he do? He left that. He did not do it. He abandoned it. And he said, my Lord, prison is better. I love to be imprisoned more than to fall into this. He left it by will and choice. Right? Someone maybe in another place, there is no one who offered him that. Right? So he left it because there is nothing calling for it. Right? You understand the difference between the two. The first one, he left it. There is nothing calling for it. So in this case, this one has nothing to do with reward and punishment. It just didn't happen. You left it because it didn't come across. It didn't come towards you, aslan. That's why you left it. Right? So that has nothing to do with reward and punishment, with the command and the forbiddance. It just didn't happen to you. Yes, you left it, but nobody offered in the first place. While the second one, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he left it and there was something calling for it. He left it because he hated it and disliked it. Alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Right? So this type of leaving, you leave something because you hate it and dislike it, right? And it happened to you, right? This is related to command and forbiddance, related to reward and punishment. Right? Reward and punishment. طيب. So he says, وَبِهَذَا يَزُولُ الاشتباه في مسألة الترك. This ambiguity in the issue of leaving, right? He says, this you can remove this ambiguity, understanding this. هل هو أمر وجودي أو عدمي? Right? This is now something that we don't need to go into, but the point of that is when something is left, right? When there is nothing calling for it, right? Something is left and there is nothing calling for it. This is as if it's non-existent, right? While if you leave and abandon something, when there is a reason, when there is something calling for you to do it, right? This is now an action that was taken, right? يعني he calls it wujudi. يعني something that you did, يعني willfully, right? And therefore it's as if something you have done and it exists. While the other one was non-existent. It was not even on your mind in the first place, right? And this is where this is important. This is important when we talk about bid'ah and sunnah, which some people still don't get the point. People don't get the point. We say there is a sunnah fi'liyah and there is a sunnah tarkiyah. There is a sunnah that Rasulullah ﷺ did, so you do it. And there is a sunnah in terms of leaving, right? So doing it is a sunnah and leaving that is a sunnah too, right? Some people don't understand this, the sunnah of leaving things. They don't get it. And they say, what's wrong with it, right? So we say, for instance, and this is a very good example that you need to memorize in your head about bid'ah, because it's crystal clear and unanimous agreement in the madhahib and the scholars, all of them agree. What do we do for the 5 daily prayers? Before the salah, we have a adhan, right? We have an adhan, right? So why do we do the adhan? It is sunnah. How it is sunnah? Rasulullah ﷺ legislated that, right? Is there an adhan for Salatul Eid? Is there adhan for Salatul Eid? No adhan. In the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, there was adhan for the 5 daily prayers, and there was no adhan for Salat al-Eid. Right? Someone now might come and say, and there isn't anyone who said that so far, alhamdulillah, I hope there won't be. It's just an example, right? Someone says, we want to call the adhan for Salat al-Eid. We say, no, there is no adhan for Salat al-Eid. And no iqama either, right? Agreed? No iqama either, right? So he says, but we want to make the people know about Salat al-Eid so they can come. Especially is that only 2 Eid prayers in the whole year and, like this. So we say, was there the same reason in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ to do adhan for Salat al-Eid so that the people can hear and then they will come to the Salah? Same reason is there or no? Same reason is there. Same reason is there. Right? But then Rasulullah ﷺ never legislated the call for Salatul Eid. And therefore, there was a reason for it to be done at that time, and he left it, alayhi salatu wassalam. This type of leaving is like a willful type of leaving, right? Willful type of leaving. And therefore, it is a sunnah for us to leave what he left, right? Because when we talk about this, some people who don't understand, and their minds are played with some of the ones who wear big turbans. Big turbans, but inside there is no brain that is working, right? When you tell them, no, this is a bid'ah, don't do it, they say, well, the car is a bid'ah, don't ride the car, go on the horse. And there is no airplane in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, they don't use the... This is how they talk. Was there a reason for Rasulullah ﷺ in his time to ride a car? Were there cars then? So he left it because there were no cars. Right? You understand now what he's saying, non-existent and existent. That type of leaving, which he left something because it didn't exist anyway. There was no reason calling for using it. He left it. He left it because there was nothing calling for it. That's like something that doesn't exist. But when he has the same reason why, or there is a reason for him to do something like calling the adhan, yet he left it, then it means we are going to leave it too. Another very perfect example, which someone asked me about just few days ago. Can we say صدق الله العظيم after reciting the Quran? Right? صدق الله العظيم. So I told him, answering him, there is no hadith that is authentic and not even unauthentic. No hadith, authentic or unauthentic. يعني لا صحيح ولا ضعيف. Nothing about saying صدق الله العظيم after reciting the Quran. طيب. So now if someone one time he recited and he said صدق الله العظيم, or he was reciting another time and he was moved by those verses that were there, right? And he said صدق الله العظيم, and he's so good, so right? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you do it once in a while, it's okay. But then, where is the bid'ah that we call bid'ah? Not saying Sadaqallahu al-Azim, Allah told the truth. Allah always tells the truth. There's no discussion about that. Right? But to make it a sunnah after every recitation. In a way that if you recite the Quran and just close the book and leave, they think of you that you disrespected the Quran and your recitation is lacking. And how dare you not say Sadaqallahu al-Azim? This is the bid'ah now. This is the bid'ah. Not just saying it once in a while or, right? When you believe that this is part of the sunnah, when there, as I told you, and the challenge is open. Bring any hadith, sahih or da'if. Of course, now someone will say, but the famous reciters, they always do that. Well, alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the living reciters and have mercy on the reciters who have died. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who enjoy their recitation, right? But what they do or what they don't do is not a proof in Islam. Any scholar regarding how great that scholar is, he could make a mistake, right? Plus, there are excuses. That's what they were taught by their teachers, right? But then if you go back to the early Muslims, you don't find that. You do not find that, right? So this is the case with this, right? So when something is left and abandoned, when there is a reason calling for it, and Rasulullah ﷺ does not do it, it means that that's a sunnah. It's sunnah to leave what he left, right? So do what he did, alayhi salatu wasalam. Leave what he left, alayhi salatu wasalam. And doing what he did is a sunnah. Leaving what he left is a sunnah, right? Sunnah fi'liyah and sunnah tarkiyah. Sunnah to do what he did and sunnah to leave what he left, right? And there are cases where there is a discussion, right? Why are they discussing that? Because we're not sure he could do it or he couldn't do it. For instance, those lines here in the masjid, you see those color carpet, right? Is this a sunnah or bid'ah? Some might say it's a bid'ah. But then, in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, were the masajid carpeted? Okay, they were not carpeted. But someone might say, well, they could have put strings, right? Can you imagine strings being put? Some of the Sahaba did not even have something to wear to cover. You know, that man who wanted to get married and he said, I have my izar, my wraparound. That's what he will give his wife. He told them, what will she do with your izar? If she has it, then you don't have anything to wear, right? This is how it was, right? If you were with us 2 Fridays ago, Al-Miqdad radiallahu anhu, when he drank the share of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of the milk, he said when he went to sleep, he couldn't sleep. Why? Because he did something that was bad, right? Plus, the garment or the sheet that he was covering himself with, it was too small. He says if he covers his head, his feet show. And if he covers his feet, his head show, right? If you are in a place where it's a little bit cool or chilly, and you don't get this nice, warmth in there, right? I don't know why it's doing this. We fixed it yesterday and now it's back. So, you can't go to sleep. That's what happened. So don't think that they used to have those strings and those, they can. It wasn't. So this is not actually, Allah knows best. This is not a bid'ah. This is just trying to help the people line up. But I can say also, don't depend on it. Don't depend on it. Wallahi, people stand, they don't. You see me every time, heel to heel, and then I point, I touch my heel. Line up with this, the edge of your heel. Line it up with the line and make it line up with those who are next to you, to your right and to your left. And still, so don't just depend on that. We don't depend on it. But it's just another means helping us to line up, basically. Right? So those areas. The adhan of Uthman, was it a bid'ah? In the time of Uthman, he added an adhan for Salat al-Jumu'ah, the first adhan. Right? He put it in the marketplace, az-Zawra. Why? Because Medina got bigger, and now the people might not be able to hear the adhan, so he added that one. Right? First of all, Uthman radiallahu anhu is one from the rightly guided Khalifas. So the rightly guided Khalifas, they have a sunnah to be followed. عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين. They are an example to follow. رضي الله عنهم وارضاهم في الجنة. Plus, after him, in his time nobody objected. And then in the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, and the time of those who came after him, everybody went on with that. Right? Now, if you come to our masjid here, we have one adhan. Right? Did we abandon the sunnah of Uthman now? Because we're doing just one adhan? And the answer is no. Just think about it. Uthman, he made another adhan in the marketplace, where the people are gathering so that they can hear and then get prepared for Salat al-Jumu'ah. Right? Here we don't call the adhan outside. There is no reason for that adhan. We go by the time, when the people are praying, and you go. So there is no need for this adhan that he added. And if you actually do an adhan in the masjid, you did not follow the sunnah of Uthman radiallahu anhu, nor the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his time, there was one adhan only, alayhi salatu wassalam. And Uthman, he put the second or the first adhan, the early adhan, he put it in the place where it's needed. And here it's not needed. Now add to that those very well-informed people who they hear the first adhan, they get up to pray the sunnah of dhuhr now. Right? They sit and sit and sit, then they call the first adhan, they get up to pray the sunnah of dhuhr. This is Jumu'ah now. There is no sunnah of dhuhr. Right? And then when the imam comes, they have the second adhan, right, on the time. Right? So there's a bit of confusion. However, we don't call this to be a bid'ah. For the masajid who are doing an early adhan and a second one, we don't call it a bid'ah because there is give and take and there is discussion, right? They might say we want to keep, the same way it was, right? Which, yes, but then you're not really doing what Uthman did, but this is what they think, right? So we don't call what they're doing a bid'ah, but then this is the case, right? That's why we leave that, because there is nothing calling for it. is not the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we claim is not even the sunnah of Uthman radiyallahu anhu wa ardahu fil Jannah. Right? So this is the case here. Right? So if there is leaving and abandoning that was done, although the reason and the causes were there calling for it, so leaving that and abandoning it is a sunnah. Right? While leaving something because there is nothing called for it, then this is give and take. It's for discussion. We have to find the legal ruling for it, right? Based on the knowledge that we have. He goes on to say that كل واحد من الفعل والترك الاختياريين إنما يؤثره الحي لما فيه من حصول المنفعة التي يلتذ بحصولها. He says each one of the two actions, or the two things, either doing or leaving, that is done by free will, right? You do or you leave by free will. Each one of them, the living human, he prefers it because of what is involved in it of the benefit which he enjoys achieving it, benefit that he enjoys achieving it, or the removal of the pain, زوال الألم الذي يحصل له الشفاء بزواله, which he will be healed if that pain is removed from him. And then he goes on. I actually wanted to stop at a point, but I don't think I can reach there. So maybe we should stop here. We have 15 minutes to go, but I don't know if I can go on with that. Anyways, he says you do by choice or you leave by choice based on achieving a benefit or removal of a harm, removal of a pain, right? This objective, right, is required or requested, is sought by every intellectual, every wise person. He said rather even al-hayawan al-bahim, even the animals do or leave based on achieving a benefit or removing a harm or pain, right? But some people, they make a mistake, a big mistake in it, a horrible mistake. يغلط فيه الناس أكثر الناس غلطا قبيحا فيقصد حصول اللذة بما يعقب عليه أعظم الألم. He intends to achieve a joy, an enjoyment, but the consequences for that enjoyment include a lot of pain. فيؤلم نفسه من حيث يظن أنه يحصل لذتها. He will put himself into pain, he will hurt himself from a way he thinks he is trying to make it enjoy. ويشفي قلبه بما يعقب عليه غاية المرض. He thinks he's healing his heart with something that the consequences of it will bring him a lot of sickness. This is the person who is short-sighted. هذا شأن من قصر نظره على العاجل ولم يلاحظ العواقب. He restricts his eyesight to the immediate benefit, the immediate enjoyment. He doesn't consider the consequences. And خاصة العقل النظر في العواقب. Once again, the special and the most distinct feature of the mind, of the intellect, is considering the consequences, considering the results. فأعقل الناس من آثر لذته وراحته الآجلة الدائمة على العاجلة المنقضية الزائلة. The most wise of the people who will give and prefer the rest and the comfort that comes later on, right? Even if he had to prefer that over the swift immediate benefit, the swift immediate enjoyment. And أسفه الخلق, the most foolish of the people, من باع نعيم الأبد وطيب الحياة الدائمة واللذة العظمى التي لا تنغيص فيها ولا نقص بوجه ما بلذة منقضية مشوبة بالآلام والمخاوف وهي سريعة الزوال وشيكة الانقضاء. The most foolish of the people is the one who will sell off the everlasting enjoyment and goodness that is in the next life. He will sell it off with, right, an enjoyment that is swift and immediate, that is full and that is mixed with a lot of pain, when the enjoyment of the next life has no pain whatsoever, right? He says, and قال بعض العلماء, I wanted to finish this so I will do it, right? Some scholars said, and this is actually, Allah knows best, is Al-Imam Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm al-Andalusi rahimahullah, and he is not giving us his words, he's summarizing what he said. And these are beautiful words. He says, فكرت فيما يسعى فيه العقلاء فرأيت سعيهم كله في مطلوب واحد وإن اختلفت طرقهم في تحصيله. He said, I was thinking about what the wise intellectual people are laboring to achieve. So I have seen that all of them are laboring to achieve one goal, even if they differ in terms of the way of achieving it. All of them, they want one thing. What is that one thing? رأيتهم جميعا إنما يسعون في دفع الهم والغم عن نفوسهم. All of them are laboring hard to drive away, to push away ham and gham, worry and grief from themselves. All of the people, that's what they want to do. They don't want no pain, no sorrow, no grief, right? فهذا بالأكل والشرب. This one by eating and drinking. This is how he's gonna turn away grief, like that old man I told you about, the diabetes and the sweets, right? Just eat and drink, it doesn't matter. وهذا بالتجارة والكسب. The other one by making business and earning, right? This is how he would push away grief and sadness from. وهذا بالنكاح. This other one is marriage, you know. Get married to one, and the next one, and the next one. Every time he's thinking of that, right? And encouraging everybody, right? And everyone is telling him, take the lead, you know, because he's just talking about it, right? Not doing anything, right? وهذا بسماع الغناء والأصوات المطربة. This other one, he thinks he can achieve happiness by listening to singing and very nice voices that are enjoying. وهذا باللهو واللعب. This play and amusement, this is how he wants to push away grief. فقلت هذا المطلوب مطلوب العقلاء. This scholar, he said, I said to myself, this goal is the goal of all of the wise people. They want to remove grief, sadness and worry from themselves. ولكن الطرق كلها غير موصلة إليه. But all of these ways will not make them reach the goal. بل لعل أكثرها إنما يوصل إلى ضده. He said, rather, maybe most of these ways, they will make you reach actually the opposite of your goal. You will be sadder and having more grief, more sorrow, and so on and so forth. More depression, if you want to use depression, right? ولم أرى في جميع هذه الطرق كلها طريقا موصلة إليه إلا الإقبال على الله ومعاملته وحده وإيثار مرضاته على كل شيء. I have not seen in any of these ways, all of them, I haven't seen any one of them, a way that will make you reach that, to be free from sorrow, sadness and grief and depression, except turning to Allah and dealing with Him alone and preferring what pleases Him over everything. فإن سالك هذه الطريق إن فاته حظه من الدنيا فقد ظفر بالحظ العالي الذي لا فوت معه. The one who treads on this path, the one who walks on this path of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal, preferring His pleasure, if he missed all of his share of the worldly enjoyments, let's suppose he lost all of his share of the worldly enjoyments, then he has achieved the higher share, which if you achieve it, there is nothing, you missed nothing. If you lost all of the enjoyments in this life, but in the next life you went into paradise forever, you did not really miss much, right? وَإِنْ حَصَلَ لِلْعَبْدِ حَصَلَ لَهُ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ. If you achieve this share that is of the next life, then you have achieved everything. وَإِنْ فَاتَهُ فَاتَهُ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ. If you miss it, if you miss paradise, you have missed everything, right? وَإِنْ ظَفَرَ بِحَظِّهِ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا نَالَهُ عَلَى أَهْلَإِ الْوُجُوهِ. And this is the first case. Suppose he missed every enjoyment, but he got the enjoyment of paradise. He did not really miss anything. As in the hadith, you know, the hadith of the dip. You know the hadith of the dip? Allah will bring the person who went through the most of pain in this life. He will be dipped one dip in paradise. Then he will be asked, did you see any pain ever? He says, no, I have never seen any pain in my life. And the opposite is the true. True also. Allah will bring the one who was most enjoying in this worldly life. And he will be dipped one dip, ghamsa, one dip in the fire. Then he will be asked, did you see anything good in your life? He's, Allah, I never saw anything good. Right? This is a reality. This is a reality. This is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? He says, that's the one case. Suppose someone never went through any enjoyment in this life. Is this the case? I don't think. The believers and the disbelievers, they go through good times and bad times, all of them. Right? There's no one who's like from beginning to end in sadness and sorrow. Another one beginning to end. Even the enjoyments, you have something wrong with it. Right? Right? To a point you get someone ordering through the drive-through, and then after he leaves the drive-through, he finds different, you enjoy it, but then there is some pain in it because you didn't get exactly what you want. And now you want to go back to the drive-through and fight with them? I don't think so, right? You just live with what you have, right? That's for everybody. He says, now suppose the case, إن ظفر بحظه من الدنيا ناله على أهنأ الوجوه. This believer who is preferring Allah's pleasure, if now the other case, he achieves his share of the worldly pleasures, he says he will get it according to the most comfortable, the most blessed way. Right? فليس للعبد أنفع من هذه الطريق. I don't know if you have طرق or طريق يا محمد. The last one, it should be الطريق. Right? الطريق. So they fixed it because your copy is another one. هذه الطريق. Right? He says ولا أوصل منها إلى لذاته وبهجته وسعادته وبالله التوفيق. So there is no way for the servant better than this way, the way of dealing with Allah and preferring His pleasure. Right? And there is no way better than this. No way that will make you more connected. أوصل, right? منها إلى لذاته. There's no way better in terms of connecting you with your joys, your delight, your happiness. وبالله التوفيق. So all of these different paths that the people take, they do not actually bring them happiness and remove sadness and sorrow from them. Rather, the best way is choosing what pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. That is the best way to achieve happiness and to stay away from sadness and sorrow. If you get it, then this is the way. Suppose you've been through all your life, you've been through pain, right? Then if you get paradise, all of that pain is nothing. And if you actually go through some good times in this life, then you will get it in the most blessed way. Plus, you will be in paradise, right? So this is the summary of what Al-Imam Ibn Hazm said, rahimahullah, summarized for us by Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.